Love with your specific person is your birthright, and you are going to claim it right here today because it is rightfully yours. And I have a massive video for you today. Yesterday, I talked about 111 and because it was 111 and talking about how we can use that divine guidance to get us exactly where we want to go. But truly, you don't need a day like 111 to manifest what it is that you want because you're always capable and have the availability, the power within you to create anything you want. Again, love with your specific person or love of any kind is your birthright, and you can claim it at any point in time whenever you want. And so I mentioned today being like a very big video, but I want to use it to catapult anyone who felt like they didn't get the success they wanted yesterday, or if you did get success with your specific person yesterday, recently, whenever, to get even more success. So hopefully this video works out for you in that way, because I have 3 success stories that happened yesterday with my 111 video, or the video yesterday. Then I have 3 questions people had on my videos talking about divine guidance, because that was kind of the topic for that video, was being divinely guided to do something, to follow your intuition, things like that. And actually, now I think about it, saying the word intuition made me think of something that I actually didn't put in here. But intuition actually means inner hearing, right? Your intuition is your inner guidance, inner hearing of exactly what to do. But I have 3 success stories, 3 questions, and then a holy grail, a holy grail success story that I want to include at the end. That was absolutely fantastic. Now, I will say every success story is a holy grail success story. So these other success stories, everything is perfect and amazing. The only reason this last one is a holy grail success story was because they were in my coaching session. So I have more background of stuff to tell you. So if you're just like, I just want to know that success story, skip to the end, but you're going to miss all of the cool questions and comments. So I'm going to put the first success story from yesterday up, and I'm going to begin with these because I want to get us into the state of feeling as if we can create, have, and bring things into our reality. But so here's going to be the first one on the screen. So here's what this person said, "Oh my God, was watching your video and I got a message from my specific person." So as you can see in the thumbnail, that was my 111 Manifest Your Specific Person Today video. So that's pretty amazing. But most people are probably thinking, how that's too good to be true. How does that happen? And I've actually talked in the past about people manifesting really amazing things and thinking that same thing when they were doing it. So the trick is when you discard reason, then comes intuition. Your reason, the things that's telling you this and that's not going to give you the divine guidance, right? Your reason gives you anxiety. That's what it's going to give you. Because as I mentioned yesterday in the video, I just wanted to retouch on it, is your subconscious brings you the divine guidance, so the intuition, that inner hearing, and your conscious mind acts it out. So when you try to reason through things, you don't get the outcomes that you want. And in a question later, I really dive into this, and you're going to like it. So success in this case, so again, looking at this person's message, "Oh my God, I was watching your video and I got a message from my specific person." Success, or a lack thereof, is only from a lack of abundant thinking. Okay? You sticking with me here? Because if we aren't opening up the reality where anything can come to us, then it's only going to come in the logical way. I think most people forget what Neville Goddard mentioned, in that every single manifestation, no matter what, must come in the bridge of events, meaning there must be a physical line leading us to where we want to go. And most people kind of overlook that. And so again, the physicalness isn't the cause of that thing happening. It is your imagination. But it's basically your beliefs are always being reflected. So if you believe it makes sense that your specific person messages you, then you go out on a date, then you get married, okay, that's what you're going to see happening. But if you think it's so totally normal that your SP just texts you, let's get married right now, then that's what's going to happen as well. And we can dive into really changing those beliefs because you're never outside of receiving or having a belief. A belief can be switched just like that. But so we always want to remember that. So success is then from a lack of thinking abundantly. So if you don't see the outcome, so if you're not seeing this bridge of events that causes your specific person to message you while watching this video, and boom, there's a notification. Anyone who gets that notification, perfect divine guidance. Send a screenshot of that. I made that joke in another video, but actually it's not a joke. You're getting it. So it's just a lack of thinking abundantly. Because when I did that, when I said you're going to receive the notification coming down from your specific person, what did you think? How were you feeling? Right? You're like, probably not going to happen. Right? And even when you saw a lot of people probably seeing that, oh my God, I was watching your video and got a message from a specific person, think that's impossible. What's impossible about that? Okay? What? Seriously. And I know I will say it. It's easier. I will say, I guess it's easier for me to believe. So I'll believe more for the both of us because I see this stuff happen all the time. And you guys are starting to get into the belief too, that intention matters massively. You guys are seeing a lot of my success stories that talk about things changing really, really quickly in an instant, right? Just from watching a video. So why can't you start to believe this? Start to understand this is your reality. I don't care what your logic is. I have a background in biology, so if I can believe it, my degree is in biology, and if I can believe it, then you can believe it, okay? Because I would actually say, and I tell this to everyone who thinks like, how do you have so much belief on this? How are you able to do that? And I would actually say, like, the logical thing, manifestation or logic kind of, it's logic, remember. Logic kind of helps me with the belief because I know manifestation then is an inherent thing of our reality, right? That's basically kind of all there is. So everything goes with it. And if you guys are super logical, if you're not logical and you can do this belief, just skip this part. But if you are a logical person, you're like, I can't believe it. Look into physics. Things in physics make literally no sense. Electrons have to be in multiple places at once when not observed. Let's think about that. So if everything has electrons here when it's not observed, this phone, all the electrons must collapse to a single point. Remember, it's like a quantum state outside of our awareness. So when I do that, you guys don't see it anymore, but now it's in this physical awareness. So everything must go to a quantum state and it must collapse on there. So that's everything outside your awareness. Your specific person's in that state right now and is literally only acting on your assumptions because your physical awareness, your assumption on whatever it is, collapses it. Okay, so outside, when you take your attention off of something, when it's totally out of your mind, out of your belief, it is in this quantum state. And then when you assume it collapses, that's a conscious awareness on something. So it collapses to a state. That's why you're seeing this microphone, you're seeing me like this, you're seeing the lamp, my guitar, things like that collapsing to a quantum state. But outside of awareness, everything is up for assumption. Close your eyes. Boom. Everything is out of your awareness. So that's what we want to remember. So a lack of success is just from a lack of thinking abundantly. Because seriously, who is saying that you can't get a message right in this video? And you're probably saying, oh, because blah, blah, blah. Well, why? That's the reason. That manifestation would say your belief always manifests. So if you don't think you can, what reality would you be able to? You control the reality. It's almost like playing Monopoly and you set how much money you make every time you go a turn and you decide you're not going to get any money. And every time you go the turn, you're like, that's crazy. I'd never get any money. Why is everyone else on their board game that they made up the rules for getting money? Just give yourself money. It's literally as easy as that. You're going around this board. You made up the rules. They're your rules. We can't blame anyone for the rules except ourselves. And once we take responsibility for those rules, then you can change them and then you can alter them. Those are like in that video about 3 steps to manifest in a week. That was the first one. Awareness of your state needs to change, understanding you are the one to do it, and then understanding that you absolutely can do it. And so always remember, we are expressing exactly what we are. So supporting this belief that you're making up the rules, it's your Monopoly game. You can pick however much you want to give yourself, $10 million every time you pass go. You can do that. You wrote the rules. So in your reality, if you want to get a message every time you watch one of my videos, then make it so, right? It's like, I'm making it so right now. You're going to get this message. So it's like, but you need to work with me in our beliefs, because we can totally deny a reality by, again, not thinking abundantly enough, thinking that it must go a certain or specific way. So get that completely out of your mind. But we're always expressing exactly what we are. We're not manifesting what we want. We're manifesting what we are. So we're never, because I made my notes, we're never eliminating things, okay? We're only ever bringing in, and that's still, don't focus on the words I use because you're never bringing anything in. You are the thing. That's like saying, do you ever bring your hand in? And you'd say no, but it's a play on terms. So don't think you're not bringing anything, you're expressing something. But you're only ever, I guess that's a better way to put it. And I think that's the way I wrote it in my notes. You're always expressing something, okay? So you are expressing positivity, abundance, love, or you're expressing negativity, not abundance, hate, right? We are either, think of, again, don't get caught on the words because we're not bringing anything in, we're expressing it, but you're either bringing love to you or bringing negativity to you. You're never pushing out positivity or pushing out negativity. And so whenever someone asks, and this is kind of jumping to the next one because into my questions, to get rid of anxiety, we're not getting rid of anxiety. We're bringing positivity in. So if you ever have anxiety, worry, you're not getting rid of it. You're only ever bringing in positivity, if that makes sense, okay? And now I'm thinking about it. I am on one of 7 topics that I want to go over. So this is going to be basically kind of like a workshop. So hopefully you guys are having fun. Comment any questions you have so far, but this is going to be maybe a long one. So that's the first one. So because I realize I do have to, I don't want to keep you guys here all day as much as I'd love to talk all day, but you always are bringing stuff in, and don't think you think of it in the way of expressing rather than bringing, because that's what you're actually doing. But it's just a way to think about it and imagine it, which is good. But you're only ever bringing positivity. You're never removing negativity. You're never eliminating it, right? You're bringing it in, okay? And so that's what we want to focus on. That's the reality that we're doing. So the belief of my specific person is going to message me in this video, that's something that we want to bring in. We're not getting rid of the idea that we can't do it. We're bringing in the idea that we can. And there is a huge difference on that. All right, so next, I wanted to include another success story that is, because I was looking through there were a lot of success stories that you guys had yesterday. So applause for every single person. Even if you didn't see it yet, you're going to see it after this video. So I was trying to pick successes that weren't all like, okay, you got this text message, because it doesn't always look like that depending on our beliefs, right? So I'm going to put the next success up right now. And this one's more of like a sign. So I'll read it out for you. So yesterday I was walking on my way to work and I saw an advertising poster about going to Barbados, and I was blown away. I always passed there and never saw it. I'm so convinced this was a sign and I'm close to my manifestation. So think about that. And if you guys don't know the significance of Barbados, that's Neville Goddard, right? Neville Goddard talking about, I went to Barbados first class, and he persisted with that idea. It's a story. I would definitely look it up. I don't want to ruin the story. It's really cool. But that's why Barbados means or has anything to do with law of assumption. So what we want to do is look at this, and we have the term sign, okay? So when we are aligning with our end state, our reality changes. Okay. We open up paths that were always available to us that we never saw. So when you're seeing signs, it's not necessarily like a sign from well, I guess you could interpret it as a sign from your higher self, but the better way to look at it is you're aligning with the state. Because think of a good example might be, think of a homeless person and a millionaire. Okay. They are all, because of law of assumption, capable of expressing and receiving anything at any given time. Okay. But do you think the homeless person sees the same opportunities the millionaire does? The homeless has this view in this state of non-abundance on their reality. So that's what they're going to be seeing, and they're going to totally miss everything else. The millionaire has the absolute opposite effect. They are seeing their reality, seeing opportunities, seeing wealth. And poverty is confusing, right? On both ends, because they're different states, the opposite state is just as confusing. It's just as confusing for the poverty person to think of having $1 million as the millionaire is for poverty. And that's the state that we're in. So always remember, as we're feeling into the state, the paths open up. We begin to see options, outcomes, places, things that were, again, I think they wrote was always there. Yeah, always passes by there. And then this poster just magically pops up into the reality, right? So it's the path to everything is always available. That's how I want you to kind of imagine it. The path to everything is always available. It's always there. It can never cease to not be there, right? So the path to your specific person, it's always there. Are we seeing it? The path to not specific person, that's always there as well. You have every state accessible. And that's because if you think about your higher self, your God state, God, can God specifically not do something? And you'd be like, well, no, they're everything. Your higher self, who you are internally and who you are connected to, you are everything. You have every outcome. You have every option. Neville Goddard goes into discussing and breaking down why then it's a book called 5 Lessons. So someone asked me about books. I love the book 5 Lessons by Neville Goddard. It's perfect, but that's like one of the first things he talks about. We have the ability to not express certain things at certain times. And that's the power that we have. And like the Jesus metaphor idea, we have the power to express what we want and get rid of what we don't want. Whereas God state has everything and must be everything at any given time. So that's kind of the power that I want you to think about. Okay, so we have the power to not express something. So we have infinite paths going anywhere. You have all of your manifestations alive within you, but when we're in the state, we see it. So this person, and I wanted to include this because this is a success story. That is a success story. Them seeing that is perfect alignment to their end state. They are now opening up the realm of reality. They are pushing past previous limitations about how I mentioned the first success story, about how people are like, that can't happen. That's impossible. This person is pushing past those limitations because they are seeing things that were always there, but now they're seeing them for the first time. There's actually a quote on, I think I included in a previous video, about like happiness or abundance or getting to where you want to go. It's you end up going to where you were at the beginning, but seeing it for the first time. So it's like when this is an amazing progress, amazing alignment, it means you are doing fantastic. But I wanted to include this one because it's success doesn't always look like a text message, right? Like you are going to get that success, but it doesn't always look like that. And so when we're looking for successes, that's a success I want you to celebrate just as much as any other one. So then now I want to put the third success story up, and I'll read this one to you as well. So this one's, it was on a different video, but it was commented yesterday on a 111. Said, in the beginning when I started watching you, every time I watched one of your videos, my SP called or messaged me. That's how I knew that basically they liked the channel. So listen to that power of belief, okay? Look at that power. That's a full realization of what I was mentioning about the first one, about where like that can't happen. Now, this person is in that state, in the belief, receiving exactly what they want, and it can happen really, really quickly. Again, I don't want you to feel like any of these success stories are disempowering or bad or against you. They are not at all. It should all be hopefully helping you get into the state. Because sometimes we can think, these people are getting all these successes. That means I'm doing something wrong. No, you're not doing anything wrong. You are on your own path of perfection, leading you exactly where you want to go. So don't worry. Use success stories as power to the belief that you can get what you want, rather than power to the belief that you're doing something wrong. Because I guarantee you, you are not doing anything wrong. But that is the power of belief. You're always bringing in exactly what you want. You're never pushing anything away. You're expressing you're in a state. You're not pushing out other states. You are every state. You are either expressing it or you are not expressing it. And so next, because I know if you guys are still with me, you guys are really going to love it. I still have the holy grail success story at the end. But next I want to jump into a couple questions, because still we're probably like, these are great success stories, Kyle. But how do we get around them? How do we push through it? And I have a really good few. I have exactly 3 questions, kind of comments that were done yesterday about this effect. So listening to these, then you can get the successes I'm mentioning at the beginning and what I'll mention at the end just through answering these questions. So here's the first question I'm going to put up on here. It says, how can I manifest when I am in no contact with my ex, especially on this day because I want her as my Valentine? So think about that. How can I manifest when I have no contact with my specific person? Are you asking this question? Seriously, for a second, think, are you asking me this question right now? I'll take a moment and I'll tell you, whoa, that's kind of crazy that you say that, because I didn't know you were always in contact with your specific person since you were born. That's crazy. I didn't know that you were permanently always in contact with your specific person. That's bizarre. That is crazy then that you're not in contact. Do you get where I'm going with this? You were in a state of no contact with your specific person before, and you met them, right? Like unless you were born, you're like twins or something, I don't know. And they're, right? It's like that, and even that, I don't know. We're not getting into that, you guys. But anyway, that's crazy. That's crazy that how can you manifest in no contact? I didn't realize that you were permanently, forever in contact with your specific person. How did you manifest or get in contact with them before, right? You would say, oh, I just did. That's the answer. And so it's really funny, and I'm making it into a joke, but it is true. Sometimes we ask questions. There's no bad questions. I love this question. This is an amazing question because it really is. People are like, yeah, how do I do that? And that's part of the Holy Grail success story at the end. You're like, how do I do this when I didn't do it? It's like, well, you weren't always like this, right? You weren't always in contact with your specific person. So the thought that you need to be in contact, or it's weird to not be like the whole concept makes no sense when you have this. And I think they call it like right thinking. So aligned thinking with your end state. That's like the right thinking is you thinking of your end. And so remember, that's perfectly fine. The act of this question actually is step 1 in changing it, because to change our state, we must first recognize what state we're in. You must have, and this is a Neville Goddard idea again, you must have hunger to desire food. You must be in poverty to desire wealth, right? To know and want a state that's rightfully yours, like I mentioned at the beginning. You have to kind of not be in the state in order to desire it. And that's like the first step is like wanting or desiring. I think someone even asked me a question of like, isn't wanting not in the state? But wanting is like the first step in understanding you want to change something. So that can actually be good. And so I really wanted to reiterate again, remember, success is always from a lack of, or a lack of success is always from a lack of thinking abundantly enough. So it's not that we can't come out of this no contact. It's that we need to have the belief that we can first and foremost. And that's how we're going to get out of it. You can't change, alter, get into a different state until we do that first. You must have the belief. Otherwise, I like to imagine myself when I think of the paths that I mentioned, like you have all these paths. I like to think of I'm walking on like a wooded dirt road, and as you change your state, feelings, paths will emerge and other paths will go away. And that's how I imagine the state. The paths are always there and they get covered up by vines if you can imagine this. So every time you're like thinking positively, all these new doors, these new paths open up, the vines kind of go away from it, opening that path. Again, if you walked into that path through the vine, you would get through it, but it's like impossible in that state because we're not perceiving it. Okay. So when you are changing, when you're thinking abundantly, like, okay, why can't my specific person message me? Why can't I be someone who's so irresistible that my specific person reaches out? Boom. Vines are opening up, these new paths that are going to take you exactly where you want to go. And so now I'll put the next question up, and this is what they said. So, hello, I tried to manifest today, 111, a message from my specific person, but I suffer from anxiety, and it is more complicated because I think I do it out of need and fear. So here's what to remember. So maybe you have anxiety. Maybe you have an anxiety right now. That's okay. I mean, you're this far in the video, so hopefully I'm taking away some of that anxiety and fear. So remember, anxiety is a symptom, not a cause. You don't just have anxiety. It's from the belief or the idea that we're getting into. But most of the time, actually, it's caused from knowing that you want to be in a different state. So anxiety is rooted in this concept that you know where you want to go. You know you want to be with your specific person, but we're not actively taking or changing ourselves as a response. So that just manifests as anxiety, worry, fear, and things like that. Because if you know that you need to do something and you're not doing it, that causes anxiety, because the anxiety basically is telling you, you know that you can be with your specific person, but we're not changing our state in order to do that. Taking the internal actions, changing who we are and what we're doing in order to make that occur. Because also remember that our natural state is happiness. Your natural state is happiness and love. And your body always wants to come back to that and get to that. So when you are not out of that, your mind, your body, your soul, all this is like, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. So then you're bounced off of your equilibrium. And you are, again, always manifesting in the positive. You're always bringing what you want. So it's basically, what are you focusing on? What are you thinking about? What are you believing? Things like that, because you're going towards and manifesting, expressing a state. You're not pushing any other states away. So again, anxiety is a result and symptom from the state that we're in, knowing that we can change it, that we can alter it. And sometimes changing the state can feel uncomfortable. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, not positive, worried, that's okay. So your anxiety and worry have nothing to do with your manifestation. They're not going to interrupt it. They're not going to impact it. It's just your body knows who you are, that your natural state is love, is abundance, is that equilibrium of happiness. Like, that's just who you are. And when you're focusing on things that don't think that way, that's how you end up in that feeling. Like, even take, for example, the first question I had of how can I manifest when I'm in no contact with the ex? That's all focusing on kind of negative things, right? Like, you're focusing on impossibilities, lack. How come this can't happen? And you could go endlessly for why you can't do something, but you can just as much, and I would say even more, focus on how you can do something. And that's going to be infinitely better than anything else. I even made up this example. If you were running a race and you were running in the opposite direction, would it be a surprise that we felt as if we weren't going to win and we were worried and having anxiety? Yeah, we're running in the opposite direction. If you want to manifest your specific person and you're focusing on I know I'm getting aggressive now, but if you're focusing on hate, lack, sadness, depression, you're running in the opposite direction. Of course you're going to have anxiety. Like if your goal is to win the race and you're running in the opposite direction, it doesn't make sense. And I know we think we don't have control over that, right? We think we don't. We do. And 1,000%, as soon as you take control again, so that's, remember the three kind of steps to manifesting in that week I showed you from an email coaching session. First is understanding something must change. Second, I must change it. Third, I can change it. So you can change it and you must be the one to change it. We are the ones leading us to this area. So we are the ones who can take us out of it. But I really want you to think about that example. If you're trying to manifest your SP and you keep thinking and talking about how bad everything is, it doesn't help. And this isn't about constantly, you don't have to constantly be thinking positive. This isn't like a toxic positivity sort of idea. You can have worry. We're always going to have anxiety. We're always going to have worry, right? That's normal. That's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Our natural instance, though, is happiness and positivity. If you actually just focus on what you want, everything's going to get solved and it will feel uncomfortable. I'll tell you that. If your natural state is focusing on worry, stalking recipes, social media, things like that, yeah, thinking positive is going to be really weird and it's going to feel different. It's going to feel odd. That's okay. You continue to persist in that because the change in state, here's what we don't sometimes think about. A change in state can sometimes be uncomfortable. You can sometimes not feel good changing a state, even though it's a better state, because your mind wants to keep you where you've always been. So if we're always worried, we feel single, the step is understanding something must change. If you identify as being single, we know that has to change. And to push outside of it, to identify being someone who's pursued, looked after, cared for, loved, things like that, it's gonna feel different. And how do you feel when you start a new job? Think about your job that you have right now. You're probably really good at it, right? Probably so easy, so effortless. Was it that way on your first day? Tell me that. Was it? I mean, if you're like really good at it, probably. But think of any other job that you had. You kind of were worried. It was kind of different. You maybe felt hard. I have examples from jobs I'd worked in the past. I'm like, I literally thought, I do not know how I'm supposed to do this. Like, this seems like almost ridiculous, but I kept going. And now that blows I don't understand my thought process when I thought that, because then in the future, I could see new people thinking that same way, but I was like, I don't get it. Like, why did I think this was an impossible job? It's like so easy. It's so effortless to the point where, because a quick example is, so I'd come do this work and I'd be with like someone training me and there'd be so much work. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't go on my break, this and that. And they're like, oh no, that's okay. You can go on your break. And I'm like, what? Like, this is so much work. I don't know how you're going to do it alone. I come back from my break. It's all done. And then I became that person. New people would come in, I'd train them. And then they would be like, oh my gosh, there's so much work, blah, blah. And I was actually like, I'm kind of bored. Please go on a break so I have something to do because this is too easy. That's literally this. It's talking about state changes. That's going to be you when your state change alters with your specific person. That's what it's going to be. So always remember that. And here's the third and final question. So this person states, put it up on the screen. It's been a while since I've felt this divine guidance happen. Every time I feel, I always act. Lol. But it's been a while and I'm feeling better about myself than last time. So think about that. Maybe you have a question. It's not really a question. It's kind of a statement. But what if you're like, it's been a while since I felt divine guidance. Where is that? Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you right now. You always have access to the path. It's always from, what did I put it on? It's kind of what we were talking about. It's from a lack of focus on what you want. If our mind is focused on nothing or contentment or waiting, Of course, you're not going to have divine guidance because we're not feeling into this state. There's no guidance to do. If your goal is right here and you don't think about, you don't visualize, don't do this or that, your goal is right here. What divine guidance you need to get to where you're at? And you do have everything within you, but it's like where you feel you are already at, you can't receive divine guidance to feel where you're already at. So you have to have this focus on what you want. And you can actually, I can give you guys something to do right here and right now that's going to help with this. Write out exactly what you're desiring. Write out whatever it is that you want. Write it out in as much detail as you possibly can, right here and right now. As soon as you start writing it out, you're going to get into the state and understand, again, step one, my state must change, right? And then two, you can do it. Again, if I'm talking about this and you guys are like, what 3 steps does he keep talking about? After this video, well, one, I would go watch the 111 video, but then watch the video 3 steps. I think it's the one actually right before that, the 3 steps to manifest in a week. Those are the 3 steps I'm talking about. So you can take a look at that. But write out what you're desiring. As much detail as you possibly can, okay? Because the more we feel it real, the more detail, the more we're going to feel it, and then the better it's going to be, the faster it's going to come to us in our reality. And I wouldn't worry about time. Again, time doesn't matter. I know I title my stuff sometimes about time because you can do it, but the focus on time actually causes it to push itself away, okay? Because the more we are observing time, the more time we're creating, and the less we observe time, the less it is. It's the difference. You guys can Google it too. Newtonian time versus Einstein time. Einstein time is how we are actually. You create. Time comes from you. Even in, I don't have it open right now, but A Course in Miracles talks about that. Time is only necessary for you to learn. And then once you get rid of it, time doesn't exist. You can snap to your reality right now. People do it all the time. And again, I don't want to dive into, I'll make another video on it. Logic is only logical for who it is, right? When you are feeling like something's logical, it's logical for you. It's not logical for someone else. And what you feel is not logical for you is logical in another way, right? And that's like, so again, the person who feels it's logic, of course, that they would receive a message from their specific person watching this video is going to get the message. And someone who thinks, no, that can't happen, it's illogical, totally going to miss it. Literally, it's going to be knocking on their door. Hopefully my microphone didn't like blurt that out. But I was knocking for everyone who, if it didn't make noise. I don't know why I went, because I think it has like a muting feature. Anyway, they'll be knocking on your door, trying to be with you, trying to manifest, be in a relationship, be married to you, and you literally totally miss it if you're not in the state. Again, I think that was yesterday, I had someone in a coaching session, their SB texts them, when should I come over? Okay? Pretty obvious. Awesome. Amazing. They were in a state that made them feel like that meant they were going to break up with them. We would all think the same exact thing. But isn't that crazy how quickly like something amazing as them asking to come over can actually cause us to think that the opposite or something really negative is going to happen? So that's the power of belief. Write out exactly what you're desiring. And so now it's time, drum roll please, for the Holy Grail manifestation that happened yesterday. So I'll put it up right now. So this is a message. I know it seems really simple, really easy. It just says, I got my text, exclamation point. But this was yesterday on 111. And it means a lot because I'll give you a background. I'm going to give you in a moment another screenshot of background that they wrote about their specific person, because they are actually in my free weekly sessions that I did for January. And I'm going to do, I believe I'm going to do more in the month of February, I think, because this was so fun and the progress is absolutely crazy. I'll talk more about that next month, though. I'll probably do something when it comes to Valentine's Day as well. But so the reason they wrote it in that way, I got my text, is the same thing I talked about yesterday in my video. If you're not a YouTube member, you can hop in right now because I wanted to make a video about it. But in my YouTube members, so if you go down there, click become a member. In my video, I explain the same stuff. So in my live video, it's for members only right now anyway. I explain intervals of success. I talked about it yesterday. It's basically setting the intention of receiving something now, okay? And in intervals, okay? But that was it. So their first interval, so the intervals of success, their first one was receive a text message. That's why they wrote, I got my text. And it was perfect because it was exactly on 111. Not coincidence? There are no coincidences. But if you, again, I'm going to make a video on the intervals of success because I think it's really, really cool. But I'm still getting, we got quite a bit of success stories on the intervals of success so far, but I wanted to make like a massive, awesome video. But again, if you can't wait and you want to get your text, you want to send me and be a part of the video and say, I got my text, and then give me your background, and literally, obviously, I'll blurt out all your information like this. If you want to be a part of that and be in the video, become a member and watch my live. Like I said yesterday, I told everyone, if you can't wait, if you want to see it and do it right now, hop in, or you can be, I'll kind of go over the same kind of subject or idea for my February group. But if you don't, just hop in and then click the membership tab and watch my live, watch it through, and then comment any questions you have on that. But that's the power of this intention. So again, if you don't have to become a member, I'll make a, I don't know when, but soon I think I'm going to make that whole video of like the holy grail idea, but I think it's going to be, it probably might be, I might wait till February because I want to get everyone in my group. So I have 10 people in the free January group, and I'll probably do 10 more people in February, but I want to see like the full outcome of it and then do like some really awesome videos. So please be patient for that. Or if you want to hop right in, just become a member, and you're going to see the step 1 of the intervals of success. And then Sunday, we're going to go more into detail. But I still haven't given you the background because you're like, I got a text, I manifested a text. You're probably thinking whoop-de-doo-dah, Kyle, right? When's the last time you said whoop-de-doo-dah? You might be like, whoop-de-doo-dah. That doesn't mean anything. You showed us so many different success stories on text. So I'm going to put the next portion up right now. So in the chat, everyone asked, so we're like, okay, when's the last time you got this message from this intervals of success, this new sort of idea? So this is what they wrote. Probably 6 months since he voluntarily messaged me on his own. I've written happy Thanksgiving once, and I hope you're doing well type of thing once, but no responses. So I decided I wasn't messaging first anymore. So again, this is, and the day, so it would have been, let me get how many days that would have been just from setting the intention. Let me get up my calendar because we met on Sunday in the morning. The same thing with like my members. So on the 7th, so the 7th to the 12th, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 days. It was 5 days ago. They went 6 months with no contact. That's the power of intention. And that's why this was the holy grail manifestation of this video. And there were other manifestations. I had 2 that I wanted to include, but I'm going to save it for another video. I'll leave all of the success and the applause for these success stories. But I thought that was absolutely amazing. And just think about it. Setting that intention of, I'm going to do this. It acts on a concept called Parkinson's Law, where you're going to meet whatever deadline you set. And I know we don't like deadlines, but that's why I explain it perfectly in the live, and I'll explain it in the video. So again, if you guys want to hop into that, click become a member in the description. I know some people were asking me like, where do I do that? Comment the link, but it's like, it's always in my videos, and you always have access. All my links down there are good. I think I have my Insta and my TikTok down there as well. But my main content is all on YouTube. So you're right where you need to be. But just think about everything. Think about all this and rewatch this video if you want, of kind of thinking, asking. Hopefully you guys really like this. I know this was a longer video. So if you guys are watching, you're an OG, okay? If you're watching right now, basically, you are going to be manifesting your specific person because you put the time, you put the effort in, you put the idea for change in, right? Because this is like what? Like I don't even know, 40, 50 minute video by now. I don't even remember because I kept changing anyway. So it's like a 40, 50 minute video. You watch the whole thing. That's dedication. That's power. That's showing you that you can change your reality, like you've heard me say in all my videos. But seriously though, So remember, this is your success. This is who you can be. Again, if you literally can't wait, hop into the members section, but I'll make a video for everyone on this. I already have, I think, because I want to get really detailed. Like, I'm putting a lot of time and effort into it. So hopefully you guys like the time and effort that I'm putting into it. I have like 5 to 7, because I didn't put them. I made like a little folder for the success stories on this specific idea that I started really recently. So hopefully you guys are going to be one of those success stories as well. Again, if you do hop in and become a member, send me your success when you start this intention. It's going to happen fast. It's going to happen easy, but try to tell me everything you can about your success story. Okay. Because I want to, it's super empowering. Hopefully you guys are thinking that all these success stories are empowering, because I did have someone in a session actually today say, I see all your positive success stories. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. Again, you are not. Okay, you're doing everything right. It's actually the thought that we're doing something wrong that actually causes us to perceive it that way. Again, remember, you're walking through the wooded forest or whatever. Am I doing something wrong? I don't know what vines sound like moving really fast in Magic Land, but that's what's happening. Okay, it's like covering up that path, and it's always there. It's available with a switch in state, switch in thought, switch of intention, writing down exactly what you want. That's all going to change your reality. Again, too, if you guys are hopping into members, I'm going live Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time to kind of hop in, answer questions. So if you have any questions about your personal situation, put them there, and then we'll be working together. But make sure to get caught up. If you join in, watch the live before you get to Sunday, because you're going to come in alignment with us. Because the whole goal of this is to everyone in my members section. That's where I'm manifesting 10,000 success stories. That's my manifestation, that I'm going to have 10,000 successes in there, and you're going to be one of them. But make sure to just hop in, watch that, because the goal is manifesting by February 1st. That's the goal. That's the goal set I'm intending for you. Okay. So comment, I'm going to manifest by February 1st. Comment, what did I say at the beginning? Love is my birthright, and you're going to claim it now. Claim that now. Love with my specific person is my birthright. Comment that down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. So you watched the whole thing. That's absolutely amazing. If you guys did have questions and you didn't want to send it, comment it down below. Head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. That's where you can reach me directly. I have been getting a lot of messages, so be patient. I will absolutely get back to you. Again, if you have fears, worries, successes, questions, send them there. Comment them on a video. I'll always be here to help you every single step of the way. Thank you again so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video tomorrow.